The Last of Us 2013 has been my favorite game for 7 years. In a year when its much anticipated sequel, The Last of Us Part 2, has finally been released, I can't believe that there's another game that is competing for my personal Game of the Year nomination. I had been waiting with bated breath since its reveal at 2016's PlayStation Experience, scouring the internet for any new information I could get. No matter how small a crumb, I just needed to feed on some sweet, tasty The Last of Us 2 bread. Come June 19th at midnight, the game was downloaded, and with the cap off of my 2-liter Dr. Pepper, I was ready to play until my eyes bled. The first time I cried during my playthrough was within its first 15 minutes. Joel sitting down and saying to Ellie just broke me. The story of The Last of Us 2 ripped my heart out, left a hole, then briefly filled that hole with some moments of hope, only to rip it out and create a much bigger hole. To some that might sound like a nightmare, but that's exactly what I wanted from this game. The amazing minds at Naughty Dog created an amazing game, creating environments with insanely high levels of detail, a story that had me invested, and just absolutely raising the bar with their slew of accessibility options. The Last of Us Part 2, to me, is a masterpiece. Leading up to its release, there wasn't a doubt in my mind that it would be my game of the year, just solely based on how much I loved the original game. So what could possibly try to take its place? It's a game that couldn't be more different than The Last of Us. A game that I'm approaching 600 hours of playtime. A game where I didn't have to kill any dogs. In fact, I got to give them a cute little sweater. I'm talking about none other than Animal Crossing. Every day I switch on my Switch, press A 3 times and click on the first icon on my home screen. I'm greeted by a cute yellow dog who reminds me about the date and time, because honestly it's very hard to keep track right now. After I'm reminded that it's somehow Tuesday and not Thursday, I open the door up to my house and get ready for an entire day of relaxing on this deserted island by building furniture, selling items to pay off my house loan, checking the turnip stock market, and searching for a pelican who may have shipwrecked on my island shore. Welcome to Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing released on March 20th, the International Day of Happiness, a date in which I don't think was a coincidence at all. The game brought me literally hundreds of hours of pure joy. I'm not a hardcore Animal Crossing player, or maybe I should say I wasn't. My first Animal Crossing was New Leaf on the 3DS. I invested a good chunk of my time into it, but not nearly as much as my New Horizons experience. Animal Crossing is such a difficult game for me to explain to people who don't play it, because to me, the point of Animal Crossing is that there is no point. You can spend hours designing a virtual paradise or log in for just 15 minutes, go bug hunting, and call it a day. For my countless play sessions of Animal Crossing New Horizons, during maybe 80% of them, there is a moment where I whisper to myself, damn, I love this game. In a year where events are being cancelled and leaving your house in general is just not a good idea, Animal Crossing has been a great place to escape to. I know many players feel the same. Animal Crossing came at a perfect time where everyone is looking for a place to go where there is nowhere to go. Players have been having virtual dates with partners who are afar, or couples celebrating an engagement by creating their ideal vacation spot and inviting their friends. I can go on about how Animal Crossing has given so many an outlet to be creative and social. It certainly has helped me, but Animal Crossing is by no means a perfect game. Animal Crossing New Horizons absolutely improves itself with this entry. However, there are many small things that make me want to scratch my head or rip out my hair entirely. The simple quality of life changes they just decided they don't want to do completely boggle my brain. Something as simple as crafting certain items in bulk. The process right now goes like this. Create one, do a celebration dance, and go back into the menus, select it again, press the craft button, and repeat this step until I reach my desired amount. There are items, such as fish bait, where having 50 of them crafted would be very useful, especially when searching for new fish. In Animal Crossing, I have to repeat this step 50 times to get 50 crafted, instead of, just saying how much I would like to craft. My totally valid nitpicking aside, these issues do make me go back and forth when choosing my game of the year for this 2020. Should I choose a game that I have some minor gripes with, but has brought me so much joy this year? Or a game that I view as a masterpiece while it raises the bar for the medium? I think about how I voted my game of the year in the past. Marvel Spider-Man was the game that brought me so much joy in 2018. Being able to swing around New York as my favorite superhero was amazing. But ultimately, I ended up voting for God of War because I believed it was a more polished game and the story was phenomenal. I think I've decided that The Last of Us Part 2 is my game of the year for 2020. Naughty Dog crafted another quality game, and I believe pushed the industry in a great direction for accessibility. Animal Crossing, however, for a lack of a better term, is the game of my life. I can absolutely see myself spending another 600 hours playing this game. Animal Crossing has been a great escape to this crazy simulation that we call reality. For myself and many others, I don't think that's going to stop this year. I'm going to keep going back to Animal Crossing to spend a couple minutes fishing or hours terraforming my island. With Animal Crossing, the International Day of Happiness can be any day that I choose. Until next time, later will be greater.